Hello. And today we're going to teach you all how to make some competitive Pokemon teams. First off, we're going to have to go off some basic requirements. Not every single Pokemon is viable. I'm sorry, you can't run your famous Chimchar team with like Chimchar, Ferrothorn. Oh, you saw Celesteela once in competitive. That's probably a good Pokemon. One time you got bodied by a Salamence. Oop, oop, and your favorite Pokemon. You can't forget your favorite Pokemon. Umbreon. Oh, and because Eevee's so cute, you might as well throw an Eevee in there. No, this is not a viable team. You know, you don't even... Yeah. Just don't run anything like this. Well, some of these Pokemon are viable. They're not all viable. Different tiers encompass different Pokemon to use. For example, OU has Pokemon that tend to be in the overused tier, which overused sounds like a negative connotation, but it is not. It is just the overuse is the standard play of Pokemon, meaning nothing too broken's allowed in there, and you're still allowed in most Pokemon. Underused is underused, rarely used, and then never used and partially used. Never used and partially used Mons tend to not be very favorable, and Mons stands for Pokemon. At least it's the shortened version of it. And then there's the borderlines, meaning it's like underused borderline. Yeah, it's good and underused, but it's a bit too strong for down there, so it leans in the middle. I'm gonna talk just basics today, so we're gonna go into Sword and Shield. Actually, we're gonna go into National Dex, just base National Dex overused. So these are just overused Pokemon. They had to be really good. And as you can see, some Pokemon, even for the first generation, scale up really well, like Zapdos, Charizard, Clefable, Chansey. Nice, Clefable's from second, but we don't worry too hard about that. Slowbro. Slowbro is so good in modern day. Such a cool Pokemon. For example, something like a Weavile. Overused Pokemon, has some good base stats. Good ability, well, decent ability. Depends on the Pokemon. These things are called base stats. So, Seal has a base 125 stat. That means its base speed will be equivalent to that. I don't know the exact calculation for this, but I do know it runs off of this. This is the base stat. So what we're going to do, for example, we go down this list. That one has a base 125 speed stat. This Kyurem right here has a base 95 speed stat. Meaning this Weavile is for the most part going to outspeed Kyurem. But there are these things called EVs, which you can invest into a Pokemon by scrolling these sliders up or killing a bunch of the same Pokemon over and over again to make it faster. So now that this Kyurem has been fully speed invested, it now has base 280, well not base, but it has a 289 speed points. These things on the very right are the points you use in-game in active battles. So because of that, it now outspeeds Weavile. But let's say this Weavile is even just a tiny bit speed invested. It now outspeeds Kyurem. So because of that, this Weavile, for the most part, will always outspeed Kyurem unless it is a minimum speed Weavile, which isn't ran very often. You go for like middle of the road Weavile, like probably around there, like. And then there are some check marks for Pokemon. So, like, if you're in this tier, like, for example, Mew's a pretty good Pokemon. Base 100 across the board. Base 100 speed is really what you want to beat. So, we're going to go into Mew. Turn up his speed at 299. That means you want your Weavile to at least have 300 speed. Okay, we have more than 300. But what if it's a max speed Mew? Which brings us to Natures. So, you could put a plus and a minus in any two stats, and it'll change it like that. You don't have to. This is completely optional. So now, with 328 speed, it gives a 10% boost. Making that Mew, it would outspeed a Weavile with 327 speed. Like that. But this Weavile can go further. This is the benchmark for the most part. There are a few exceptions. Because we'll be playing in the overused tier, at least this video is assuming you're playing in the overused tier. I'm going to head over to Dragapult. Ooh, Dragapult's banned in the overused in this... in National Dex. Okay, well, if this was Sword and Shield, he's not banned in that tier, but still. Dragapult has a ludicrous amount of speed. So if you're playing Sword and Shield, make sure you build for specifically Dragapult, because 421 speed is a lot. So let's just quickly build up a Weavile. We're not going to make anything too complex. We're going to go 437. We're also going to max out attack while we're here, because we want to hit things. We want to hit things for a lot of damage. And I'll put the last 12 points into HP. Uh-oh, we have 284 HP. There's one thing you always want to keep in mind with HP. You want your HP to be an odd number for attacks like Substitute, Leech Seed, just that kind of stuff, like static damage. So we're going to drop this to 8. And these EV buttons here on the side, it's divisible by 4 always. Every 4 points equal to 1 stat point over here. And there is a maximum amount of EVs you can have total across your Pokemon. So now this Weavile's doing pretty well. Now we're going to make him a Adamant Weavile, meaning he's plus attack minus special attack. Which brings us to our moves. So this move is called Brick Break. It's a physical move, as you can see with this little red thing, like explosion looking thing right here. As you can see, Brick Break is physical. Its power is 75, meaning that's the base power of the move. Moves with bigger base power will do more damage, moves with less, and has 100 accuracy, meaning most likely it will never miss unless there's something on the field that will actually make it miss. It has 24 PP, meaning it can be used 24 times before you can't use it anymore. And this thing over here is an extra effect that some moves have. Not all moves have them, though. Like this one is destroys screens unless the target is immune. We'll talk about screens another time. So, like, for example, let's go find, like, Hidden Power. Hidden Power is a special move that can be one of any type. You can only run one Hidden Power on your Pokemon. So, because it's a special move, we don't want to run on a Weavile with such a low special attack, but we're still using it as an example. Can be used 24 times, 100 accuracy, 60 base power, and it has this little, like, wave-looking thing right here, meaning it's a special attack. It's like a ranged attack. It's got no extra effects, seeing as this is blank over here. So, a standard Weavile set. Well, I guess not standard, but we'll want something like Knockoff, which Knockoff knocks off your opponent's items, which we'll get into that later. We'll take Icicle Crash. Or, if you really want to be fancy, you can take Triple Axle. Triple Axle is a very viable move that relies a bit on chance, but if you can get the chance right, you're just set and run for the rest of the game. So you can either go safety or a little bit more luck-based. Okay, so we have our two main damage dealing moves. Now we can either go utility or we can go just extra moves. So one thing you'll notice is that he's a dark and ice type. He's got two types. Okay, a little bit complicated. But wait a second, he learns non-dark and ice type moves. So to compensate for learning other Pokemon typed moves, what Game Freak has decided to do, which is the creator of Pokemon, Game Freak, they've decided to give any Pokemon that uses the same type of move as it, like this is an ice type move, this is an ice type, a 50% boost called Stab, same type attack bonus. So if we go down here, any of these ice or dark type moves have Stab. So like let's say we want X-Scissor on a Weavile. This X-Scissor will not be benefited from Stab. So it's only base 80 power. Stab is added directly onto the base power. So this becomes a base 30 power move. This becomes a base... Well, it's a 1.5 times increase. I'm not going to do that in my head. I know it's like something 0.25. We go down here. So it's also organized into two groups. We have moves and usually useless moves. These moves you'll typically not want to run, but there are a few exceptions. Like this move right here, Beat Up, is a good move to run on Weavile because it's a non-contact move, and it can beat up a specific set of Pokemon that's been running around its tier. So now, actually we're going to drop Beat Up though, because we want Ice Shard. We may be fast, but this has something called Priority. Priority means it has a +1 in battle order. So, yes, it may have a high speed, but a priority move will always move first beforehand. So something like let's just take Magby, for example. Magby gets a move called Mach Punch. Mach Punch will outspeed always, even though it has far less speed than our Weavile. And there is nothing wrong with Priority outspeeding you, because you cannot outspeed Priority. However, you can beat Priority by using an exact same Priority move and having more speed. If two priority moves are used on the same turn, they have the same amount of priority, it comes down to the speed. But there are also different levels of priority. For example, there's Mach Punch, that's +1 priority, and then there's Protect. Protect is +6 priority. A priority move can range from anywhere to +1 to +6. And that goes on the same side as negative priority. Like, let's say, who cares about Magby? Let's go into something like Garchomp, which is a fairly good Pokemon. Because we've got Dragon Tail. Dragon Tail has -6 priority. It will always move last, or at least it will try to always move last. Because of that, it typically has a really good side effect, like this is switched to a random ally from the target side, meaning it will help out a lot. It's typically for like more complicated moves, which you'll need to learn and develop strategies around. But yeah. Now we'll get into items. So items, as you can see, Knockoff knocks off an item. It does 1.5 times damage if they are holding one. So, like, let's say this Weavile, we're going to throw out a Choice Band. Choice Band increases attack by 1.5 times. This increases not its base attack, but its base power of its move, which is this. It increases its attack stat directly, which is a much bigger increase than what most people want it to be or expect it to be. And it's really threatening. This is your speed stat by 1.5 times. This is your special defense stat by 1.5 times, and this is your special attack stat by 1.5 times. So with the choice items, you can only have one item attached. However, in compensation for being incredibly more powerful, you will be locked into that one attack for much longer until you switch out, or unfortunately perish. However, there is like an item like an assault vest. So let's say you really like Bulbasaur. You see Bulbasaur. You see people using like sleep powder. Their absorb. Oh, you don't get absorb anymore. I guess their sludge bomb, thick sludge, same thing. Their leech seed, and their protect. So you may be like, yeah, this is a good moveset. It's not, but this is a good moveset. Let's slap on an assault vest so my Bulbasaur can take some more moves on the special side. So you slap on your assault vest. You're like, I'll take chlorophyll. However, there's one key mistake here. Assault vest disables all non-attacking moves in compensation for its 1.5 times special defense. And additionally, because of this, you are not locked into one attacking moves. So for some Pokemon like Tornadus Therian, which is unfortunately bad for this year, you can assault vest it and put on moves like Knockoff. There you go. You have a Pokemon that can take special attacks very well and cripple your opponent by taking their items off. So the items are crucial in battle. It can be what makes or breaks a Pokemon. Like Magneton. Okay, pretty cool Pokemon. Like Magnezone. Pretty cool Pokemon. Magnapul. If a steel type's out, it can't switch out. Okay, that's nice. But is Electric's weak to ground? Steel's weak to ground. Well, we don't want it being hit by ground type moves, otherwise it will instantly combust. So let's give it an Air Balloon. Air Balloon is an item that makes a Pokemon immune to ground type attacks, but if it's hit by any other type of attack, then it pops. So let's just run some general good items. I'm just going to bring out my favorite Pokemon here, for example. So typically, things like Leftovers is a really good option. It heals 1/16 of your max HP at the end of every turn. You have things like Eviolite. This is for if the Pokemon can evolve, it gets 1.5 times the defense and special defense. That's the only drawback. It still has to be able to evolve. So some Pokemon like Porygon 2, great Pokemon to use with this. You slap on an Eviolite, there you go. One of the most defensive Pokemon in the tier. There's things like Weakness Policy. If you're hit by a move that you're weak to, like how I'm Dragon Flying, I'm 4 times weak to ice, I'll get +2 attack and special attack in response to that happening. The item is used up upon it occurring. However, you're like, you may be looking at me at the screen and asking, why would I ever want my Dragon Flying type to be hit by an ice type attack? Won't it just die? Well, for a specific Pokemon like Dragonite, it has an ability called Multiscale, where when it's at full HP, it takes half damage, so it's only hitting it with 2 times effectiveness. Up to 4 times, so there's effectively half of its damage gone. And then Dragonite already has great natural bulk, so it will be able to take the hit and live it. Let's look at what else we have. There are always the berries. The berries are a vast collection of like utility items. Like let's say I'm weak to a ghost type attack. A Dragonite is not, but let's say I am. I can put this on, fearing for specifically the ghost type, And when I'm hit with a ghost type attack, I will take less. I will half the damage from it. It's like Chillonberry, half damage from a normal type attack, just universal. There's things like Life Orb, increase your damage by 1.3 times. This is direct damage too, at the cost of 1/10 my max HP, meaning you can only use an attack 10 times before your Pokemon dies unless otherwise stated. However, it's only damaging moves. There's the herbs, like Mental Herb, cures like Attract, Disable, Taunt, Torment, which we'll get into at another date. Power Herb, which it's like 2-turn moves will be completed in 1 turn. Like, for example, I believe you get this, you do not. You do get Dive. Dive takes 2 turns. One to actually go under the water, and the second turn is to attack. You get semi-invulnerability in the first turn, and it is a good move to use with, well, you don't really want to run Dive, but like it does work with your Power Herb. There's Rocky Helmet. When a Pokemon hits you with a contact move, which means up like a physical melee attack that makes contact with your Pokemon, the opposing Pokemon will lose 1/6 of its max HP. This is like Salac Berries. There's Blunder Policy. Black Sludge is leftovers to anything that's like not a poison type. No, it's leftovers to anything that is a poison type. Everything else that loses 1/8 the HP, which cripples some Pokemon. Alright. As we go further, you can see more and more stuff. There are always the plates. Interesting. These plates increased like attack damage by like 1.2 times, like base power. Like, for example, like, and there are different item counterparts. Like there's Charcoal for fire. There is Mystic Water for water, and there's like the Miracle Seed for grass. Pretty much one for every single type. And yeah, overall that is general held item stuff that you'll want to know. I'm just throwing a really safe set onto Dragonite, so weakness policy, multi-scale. Dragon Dance. So your choice between Outrage, Dragon Claw. We can go Iron Head and EQ. And if you don't know what to ever make your Pokemon based off its base stats, you can always click this button. This is a guess of what you're trying to make. So for my scenario, I like this spread, but I don't like it enough. I want to change this down here to that. There are non-attacking moves like this, which increases my attack and speed by 1, which is a 1.5 modifier to this for taking a non-attacking move that turn. Not every non-attacking move does that. Some do different things, which you can read onto this side. And I'll go over terrains and hazards another day, and that kind of stuff. But yeah. Okay, so we have our 2 Pokemon for today. Let's go look at Natdex AG. Well, it's just Natdex. We seem to have a lot of Iron, Poison, Ground. Okay. Iron, Poison, Ground. Fair enough. Throw in an Ice type move or a Rock type move, and we're goated. So far our team's looking pretty good. We knock off most of the tier with Weavile, and we can set up with Dragonite against like Tyranitar and Mega Tyranitar. Look at that. We have 2 Pokemon that would fare fairly well in this tier. They don't have any too big of downsides other than like Mega Mawile. Which reminds me, Mega Pokemon. For example, like Tyranitar. This is Mega Tyranitar. This is when you slap on a specific item, which is named after the Pokemon. There's not every Pokemon is a Mega Evolution, so if you just type in Mega, this is all the Mega Pokemon, excluding Meganium. Mega Pokemon are a Pokemon that has much higher stats than its original counterpart. So like, if we compare this to this, you can see all of its, well, nearly all of its stats that it needs to go up goes up, and it becomes much more powerful. It's at the cost of your item slot, and you can Mega Evolve and attack on the same turn, or use a different move. So because of that, I can't go Assault Vest and expect to Mega Evolve. There's only one Pokemon that can do that on a caveat. We won't be using Mega Tyranitar, On this team, I am going to specifically be running... Actually, let's just look at Mega Pokemon. Let's have some fun. Okay. Honestly, we're gonna be running Mega Diancie. I'm gonna run Diamond Storm. Actually, no, even better. Mega Venusaur. Thick Fat. Leech Seed. Toxic. Giga. Protect. And 23. $239. There we go. Initial 4 points. There we go. Now we have our absolute behemoth of a wall. So this thing, as you can see, has a big HP stat and big defense stats. Meaning that it can take a lot of hits. Leech Seed will heal it over time. Giga Drain will heal it over time. And it can spread status with Toxic. And with that, I think I'm going to end this first video. If you want to see me do more Pokemon tutorials like this, just leave a comment. Maybe even a like. Your choice. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.